Hello and welcome back to the game room. You know what I love? Video games. You know what I love talking about? Games. And it seems like a lot of people nowadays that cover games don't like them. They want to use it as a stepping stone. They want to be talking about something else. Well, not here. We're only talking about the games. And all 1,500 of you, we did it. We hit 1,500 subscribers. And in honor of that, I thought we'd do something fun and take a look back from a video I did 2 years ago, which was my top 5 most expensive PS1 games. When I made this video, I was surprised because the PS1 for the longest time, prices were going up, but there wasn't a huge spike. Well, back in April of 2021, I noticed that my games started skyrocketing, and luckily they have come down to earth a little bit, though not everything, not all titles. And since then, I really made a concerted effort to beef up my PS1 collection. If you go back to my 2020 game room tour, which was around December of 2020, so a few months before I made the top 5 video, I had about 90-ish PS1 games. I've added about 44 games since then, the large majority of them being Square RPGs and tactical RPGs, things of that nature. So for this video, I want to relook at my top 5 most expensive PS1 games. We're actually doing a top 10 this time. And the reason for that is a lot of them that were on the list last time will be on it this time, but in a different order.
There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. My name's Luke. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life. This is my game room.
Alright, so first up this time, my 10th most expensive game, which ironically last time I feel was my 3rd most expensive game. So this game has come crashing down to earth a little bit. It's still more than what I got it for, and that is the Squaresoft shooter Einhander. So whereas this was around $220 in April of 2021, it's now sitting around $151 complete as of late March, early April 2023. I think that's a little bit more accurate to what this is. It's a good game, don't get me wrong. It's probably my favorite shooter on the system, but also it's the only shooter on the system I've ever played. If you'd like to know my extended thoughts on it, I did a Hated Gems on this a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago now. Super fun game. Is it worth $150? I wouldn't buy. I probably would, knowing me, but it is a hard pill to swallow for that. But now, ironically, my 3rd most expensive game a couple years later is my 10th most expensive game. So then what else is up there now? Well, it's funny you ask. A game that I recently covered for the channel and has quickly rocketed up the list to my favorite PS1 games is a Working Designs release. Now, funnily enough, this game has gone down in value since I've purchased it. So originally it was floating around that $180-$200 range, and that's around what I got it for. Then I got it for like $170. Well, now Vanguard Bandits is going. Oh wait, that's not Vanguard Bandits. That's Alundra. Surprise! Vanguard Bandits, professional here. Vanguard Bandits goes for $152. So I'm actually in the hole for a little bit here. Not that I care at all. This game is amazing. I reviewed it. I think it's the first review I put out this year. I played it all December of 2022 and had a great time. I had only planned on beating it once. I actually beat it 3 times, went through and did all 3 pathways. Such a fun tactical game, such an underrated series, and the last game made by a developer called Human, which I know Human because they started the Clock Tower series, and this was their last game, unfortunately, which is really a shame because Clock Tower is a very interesting game, and Vanguard Bandits is a phenomenal tactical game, especially for someone like me who's not a huge mech person. This game really had me going on it. So, once again, $150-ish. This one I would say is worth it, but I'm a huge fan of tactical games, so take that with a grain of salt. But if you're interested in this game, pick it up now. It, for some reason, has gone down in value, so I jump on it. It's funny, when I originally bought this, I bought a copy off eBay that the guy had tried to pull some shady stuff. So this game is a 2-disc case. It's only one disc game. The other disc, I believe, is a demo of some sort, which Working Designs did a lot. They throw in demos, and a lot of Square games did that too. Now, if you're like me, I like having the manual, the case, in the game. I can live without having the bonus discs. So I don't have the bonus disc in this copy, I don't believe. Yeah. So not having the bonus disc, I can live with that. So even though my copy, I'm saying is $150, it's not technically complete. So once again, take that with a grain of salt. All right, well, you already know what my 8th most expensive game is. This is another game I covered on the channel last year, another Working Designs game, and one that kind of got me a little bit more on the Working Designs boat, and that is Alundra. And there are so many different variants of this game, which Working Designs did with all of their releases. So for instance, on Vanguard Bandits, there's 2 different disc artworks. There's this one's apparently the rarer one. I think that's the Tic Tac, versus the other one is of the Ultra Gunner. And then Alundra has 9 different variants. So my variant here, which there's only 1 disc in it, so that's just the artwork you have there. My variant is the one that has the girl character on the front, and then the back artwork of the case that is of the different land. Very much Sony's answer to Zelda. And unfortunately, Alundra 2 did not continue with that style. But this game almost made the list last time. I think it was number 6. And now it's dropped down a bit, but that's because I've added games. So this is my number 8. Goes for around $154. Another game that I'm a sucker for these style of games. If you want to know what I like tactical games and I like action-adventure games. And so, yes, I know it's a big pill to swallow, but I would actively still pay for these games, especially based on the amount of content you get out of it. Unlike Einhander. Like Einhander, yeah, you can get the same amount of hours, but it's not nearly as enjoyable for me as having these 2 games. Okay, yet another Working Design game. So this is one I surprisingly got a huge deal on. I think it was on eBay. I just threw out a buy it now offer, not expecting ever the guy to accept it. And surprisingly, he did. Or they did, or she did, or whatever. And that is the Arc the Lad collection. So like I said, I'm trying to get a bunch of these tactical games. So that's why I got Vanguard Bandits, that's why I got Arc the Lad. I've gotten games like Karsha and Hoshigami and Sayuki, Journey to the West. This one goes for about $157. I got it for a little over $120. So it's complete. Now the Working Designs did all these crazy collector's editions with it's called the Omega box or something of that nature. I don't like these are nice on the shelf. They look good in my intro, but they are a bit of a pain in the ass. But this one has 4 different games on it. And from what I've heard, they're all pretty dang decent. So something I'm super stoked to jump into. I know the first one is not very long, so I've wanted to check that out. But then in recent months now, I've been kind of doing a thing where I talk about, 2-player games and things of that nature, which has done well. Welcome to all the new subscribers. But if you're interested in seeing me cover some of these games, let me know. Okay, so that's the top. That's the 9. That's 7. So number 6. So number 6 has a little bit of a depressing origin. So after, like I said, last year when I did Vanguard Bandits 2, or not Vanguard Bandits, Vandal Hearts 2, unfortunately my best friend passed. And I was in a bad space at the time. And you know what happens when you're depressed? You'll eat, you'll spend money you don't have. Well, I decided to spend money I didn't have. I'm not sure what I spent for this, but for some reason I'm like, you know what, I want a new rare PS1 game. I don't feel well. So I picked up Castlevania Chronicles, a game that probably people will be like, why would you spend money on that? There's far better games. And it goes for about $160, and I did not get much less than that. I think I got around 140-ish, something of that nature. I don't know. I was depressed. I wanted something. It made me feel better. I like Castlevania. I want to have, at this point in my collecting, I'm less about the marquee, super big value stuff. I have Little Samson. I'm good on that. I'm more looking for series that I like, that I can complete, and things of that nature. So that's why I'm looking for tactical games. I'd like to get some Castlevania stuff. This was one of the Castlevania games I didn't have. A big fan of the PS1 now. I've really enjoyed playing through it. I'm thinking of maybe doing even a PS1 buyer's guide from my perspective, as far as what I'd recommend and what I would do. So if that interests you, let me know. But yes, I picked up Castlevania Chronicles, and I'm looking forward to checking it out. So yeah, that is my number 6. Okay, Now let's jump to the top 5. So as you noticed, the only one that was in my list the first time was Einhander, as it dropped in value. Well, the next one is my number 5, which I want to say last time it was number 4. So it hasn't gone up much. It's basically stayed around the same. I think it's maybe $10 more than what it was last time. I picked it up at a convention. I want to say Retropalooza 3 or either Portland in 2015. Got it for about 30 bucks. Game that I haven't played, and maybe I should play it now as I put in about 80 hours in Octopath 2, and that is Xenogears. No experience with it. Wanted to play it since it was new. Once again, it's a mech game, so we'll see if I can get into it. But this is now going for $168. Last time it was around $150-ish. So a realistic increase in a few years. It's a very desirable game, but it was a popular game. So the fact that it's going for that much is kind of insane to me. I know there's a lot of copies of this out there, a lot more than something like Ark the Lad or even Einhander. But yeah, there you go, Xenogears. I'd like to check it out. Moving on to number 4. Now, this one really surprises me how much this has gone up in recent years. So I picked this up. I didn't even get the black label version. I got the green label version, and I got it for $30 on eBay back in the day. And I think at the time, I didn't notice that it was the green label version. I was just like, you know what? I got to get this. I got to have this game in my collection. How could I not? I've never played, at the time, I'd never played any of them in the series. To this date, I've only ever played Silent Hill Homecoming, and I think you know what game it is. It is Silent Hill on the PS1. Is my fourth most expensive game, and it goes for the insane $171 for the green label, and the black label I think is even more. I think it's closer to $200. I guess these are really good. I don't know. I don't know how this game has exploded so much in price, and yet Resident Evil hasn't. So maybe these never sold as well as Resident Evils, and people are kind of finding out about it now. Because I know Silent Hill 2 is pretty expensive on the PS2, and all the Silent Hills seem to be up there. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably too much of a wimp to get through this game. I don't like horror games. I really don't. I famously can't get through the B-side of Claire's story because I can't handle Mr. X. But hey, maybe one day we'll do that at 2,000 subscribers. You guys can force me to do a live stream of Silent Hill. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, let's get there, and then I'll have to deal with this. And Pyramid Head's not even in this one, from what I know. But yeah, number 4, Silent Hill, Greatest Hits Edition. It's nuts. I didn't think a Greatest Hits copy would be up this high, let alone higher than stuff like Vanguard Bandits and Ark the Lad. But there you go. You Silent Hill people are crazy. All right, this next one is a more recent pickup of mine that I got a phenomenal deal on it. Not sure how. It's one of those things where you get lucky. I placed a bid. There was no information on it. It was a reliable looking person, and I got this for $100. And that is yet another Working Designs game, is Lunar 2 Eternal Blue. So this goes, at the time I got it, it was maybe around $170, $180. Now it's closer to $202. I got for $100. Still surprised to this day, and it's complete. Everything's in there. Now it's a little hard to distinguish because you'll go online, and even on stuff like price charting, it'll say complete, but then you look it up and they'll be for just the case and not without the Omaki box, or whatever the hell you call this thing. But yeah, I have this now. I got this in Ark the Lad, so now I got to get the original Lunar to complete the Working Designs trifecta of these things. And I'm not sure if there's any other games that do this, but yeah, it really is cool how much effort Working Designs put into their stuff. I also picked up Silhouette Mirage recently, too. So, yeah, I guess you can say I'm kind of a Working Designs fanboy. Although, I'm interested in the games. The level of maturity of the dialogue can be a little much at times. But yes, so those are kind of the new changes. Now, my top 2 are pretty much the same as they were a few years ago, though they flipped and the price value is significantly different. And one of them, I have a feeling I know why. So number 2, most expensive game, is Suikoden 2. Famously, the game that was given to me by a customer of mine who was very nice, wanted us to go to a nice home, and it has. I played it last year, thoroughly enjoyed it. They're coming out with a re-release of 1 and 2 in a dual pack, so that's probably why this value has gone down from being around $400 complete to now $242 complete, or $240, somewhere around there. I can only assume. great game. I think it's a little overrated in my opinion, based on what I hear from people. It was fun, but the combat is not that great. There's limits to it. There's no items you can use. Like, you have to choose between using items and gear, which I find to be an unusual system. But all in all, still a very enjoyable game, and one that I highly recommend picking up the re-release. Don't waste your money on this one, which is probably why it's gone down in price. And number 1, the famous game that I didn't want, that I picked up from my buddy in a lot with Mega Man X2 and 3 and Mega Man Legends, and he threw in a game that he wanted to get rid of. At the time it was $50, now it's $407, and that is Persona Revelations. I got no words. I don't know why this has gone up. So it was around $350 last time, whereas Suikoden 2 dropped significantly. This one has kind of held pat and gone up. And once again, another game I got to check out. I just have not been very interested in starting the Persona series, but hey, it's now my most expensive PS1 game, which I'm pretty happy with my PS1 collection in general. It's really been beefed up. Only major tactical game I still have to pick up is Rhapsody, and other than that, yeah, I'm pretty much set with that system. Then again, every time you say that, you end up needing more stuff. But anyways, that is my top 10 most expensive PS1 games list. Let me know about your most expensive games. Let me know if you saw my first video and how the price changes have affected you, because that's something I always like to see. You know, this might be something I do regularly every few years. I figured for 1,500 subs, let's do something that would be kind of cool. I haven't revisited any of these pricing lists, and this is just something I'm into as a game collector who isn't really in it for the value, but kind of gets, enjoys the, the S's and giggles of it. Thought it would be interesting. Thought you might like it too. As a reminder, I release a new video every Tuesday. I do have a Patreon if you'd like to support the channel. It's been so nice getting a hold of all you. Take care.